So the only one that really could use an upgrade, just like they did before, is Nintendo, and we'll see what they do in 3 years. But still, that's too little. They got to get it right this time. I'm sick of consoles just for the sake of consoles. And because Nintendo has a style, too, that they go by, it's almost like they feel like, well, if we make another console, that means we have permission. We've given ourselves permission to make another Smash Brothers game.
That helps. Mario Kart 9. Here we go.
We've given ourselves permission to make another Mario Kart game. You know? But what really ticks me off, what really makes me mad, is that you know it now with all these delays. You know we're not getting Zelda Wii U until the end of Wii U. It will be the last game released.
It'll be like the Wii with Skyward Sword. It'll be the same deal.
Yeah, it'll be like Twilight Princess. It was the last game for GameCube. But we probably won't be lucky enough to get it on the other console.
But do you really think 5 years isn't long enough?
No. Not what... It's not long enough in the sense that when they made Wii U from Wii, they should have made the jump that they're about to make. Not the little jump. You should wait longer and make a more significant jump.
I don't know. I think Wii to Wii U was a pretty big jump.
That's HD only, which they should have got correct in the first place.
But then
all
the Wii
they did
have been
was
a
correct.
Success.
Look at Wii U is a correction of their mistake, which is Wii.
But Wii wasn't a mistake because it sold the most consoles.
That's just because it was cool and everybody was like, "Ooh, motion control, yay!"
Which is now like a standard. The PS4 has motion controls in the controller as a standard.
And back then, everybody wasn't hating on Nintendo like they are kind of now. Nintendo's reputation when Wii came out, coming off the GameCube, was still slightly different than it is now.
But people are only hating on Nintendo because they have jumped into like trying to enter the same market space as PS4 and Xbox One and trying to enter into the graphics game.
Exactly.
And they're not there. So
exactly,
it didn't
they're not there. So if they would have either got Wii, the console that shouldn't exist in this pile is Wii. Wii shouldn't have existed. If they went from GameCube to Wii U, fine. Then you're ready for another upgrade. They made a mistake. They didn't make it big enough, and that's what this next console has to do. It has to be not to catch up to PS4 and Xbox One. It has to be to surpass it.
But if the Wii was that upgrade, it wouldn't have done as well. Because it would have been twice the price, and it wouldn't have captured that crowd that it captured.
That's completely different, debatable. It's money and pricing and selling. I'm just saying in terms of power and what can it do. It's got to catch. It can't just catch up. It has to surpass now. They've made
in terms of power though, it's all a money issue. Nintendo makes cheaper consoles that aren't as powerful, so people can buy them. Whether you agree with that or not is another subject. I do agree with that,
but I'm just saying at this point, they have to figure out a way to make a better console for less money.
But you can't do that. They're not a stupid company. They can figure this out. But the point is, we're now getting to the point where graphics are kind of edging off because you can only get so close to real life without all this crazy stuff. So they can't do that if they still want to keep their consoles cheap. You're not going to see the big upgrade anymore at all.
They can. PlayStation and Xbox can't. You're telling me that they're not still farther behind? They are farther behind.
Yeah, the Wii is not as powerful as the PS4 360, but it's also much cheaper.
It is, but
that's the trade-off you make.
So then, what the hell is NX going to be?
We don't know. We haven't got any details.
If it's more of the same, then I don't like that.
Well, it's a dangerous game Nintendo are playing because the last company that separated off and did their own console thing was Sega with the Saturn and the Dreamcast, and that ruined them. And they dropped out of the hardware console thing. So Nintendo have to be really careful with whatever the NX are going to be, because potentially the Wii U could be their Saturn and the NX could be their Dreamcast. But we'll have to see what it is, but that is the potential here.
Yeah, it could be.
Because if Nintendo make a console as powerful as whatever the PS5 is going to be, that's a much more expensive console. They're going to lose part of their market, and the Xbox and PS4 people aren't going to jump onto Nintendo again just because it's more powerful. They still don't care, so they're not serving anybody. The Nintendo fans will still buy the next console if it still has the games.
The other problem is that not only is it not as powerful as them, but it's so radically different in the way that developers have to work with it and program it that they can't easily port games, which makes people not be able to service them as much.
I think that's part of it, but I think it's more just a sales thing because it supports Unity and things like that. They've made steps towards that. Call of Duty came to the Wii U, FIFA did, it just didn't sell. It's just the numbers.
All I know is back when Wii came out, I felt like Nintendo was in a very, very good place in the world. I felt like they were different enough that they were in this place where, like, they weren't part of the war that Sony and Microsoft were in. They were more part of, well, like, I felt like really big gamers would either get a Sony or Microsoft console, and everybody would get a Nintendo. Because they weren't part of the war. They were different, right? You would get something different there. But now I feel like people are looking down on them because they're not part of that war.
So, you think they should release a more powerful console to become part of the war again?
Yes.
I don't think that would work, though. Because the big games they would release for it, it'd be like, look at how this, like, 4K Super Mario game. People wouldn't care, apart from Nintendo fans.
No, but yeah, apart from Nintendo, if it's a Mario game, yeah, nobody's gonna care. But they need to suck back in the market that doesn't care. You know what I mean?
But the only way you would do that is that I think they can only go back to the casual fans if they want large success. I don't think they can go forward into the hardcore because they've already lost the hardcore.
And you can't get them back, you think?
Well, not when they're so out of sync with everything else. Because it's like you said, the third-party developers aren't going to make games for Wii U, and I don't think they're going to make games for NX, because my prediction is that the NX will come out holiday 2017, and it'll be another 2 years until the PS5 and the Xbox 2 are released. And at that point, porting it to this specific console isn't going to work. So they might as well keep the hardware cheaper so people will still pick it up and check it out, rather than making that big jump trying to be like, oh, look at these graphics, because only dedicated Nintendo fans will buy that console.
If that's true, then I don't see the point in making a console at all.
Well, it's people are disappointed in the Wii U. They want to take a step forwards.
And that step forwards is... What are they going to do on this console that's not going to disappoint people?
I don't know, man. I think they're in a horrible situation.
That's what I'm saying.
To get out of it.
You're developing this console, and people are still going to think of you the exact same way as they do now. You're not going to change anything.
I think you're probably right. I don't think this console will change much, but they got to do it because
that's what I'm saying. If you want to change something,
complaining.
If you want to change something, then you have to go that route of making the bigger, better console. But then you say people aren't going to buy it because it's too expensive and blah, blah, blah. And I don't know. I'm just saying, if you want to change your image, you have to change your console completely. You can't just do the same thing again.
I mean, I agree with that. They got to make a change. A change is definitely necessary. But the issue here is that the Wii U, I think, is a great console and has great games. And I think
I'm not saying it doesn't.
I think it's a great console.
Yeah.
But it's people not buying it and people complaining, which is what's leading to this new console coming out so soon. So I don't know what they're going to do, but I'm very happy with my Wii U. I would stick with it for another couple of years, but that's not the decision they made.
I have to disagree, but I'm not the one making the decisions.
What? So, are you not happy with the Wii U, or?
I am. I'm just saying I wouldn't be going to another console yet. I think people are. Oh, look at Wii U. Just the name itself from Wii. I don't know. Like, that was a bunch of confusion. Like, people still think. There are still people out there that think Wii U is the exact same thing as the Wii. Like, this whole thing should have been one console lifespan from Wii to Wii U. That should have been one whole thing. And then this NX can be another one.
Yeah, well, I think the Wii U was doomed to fail, which is why they need a new console to reset and get away from it. Because I think Wii U was just always doomed to fail like this.
It was doomed to fail. I'm just saying now it just seems like because you failed, you've added in an extra console that shouldn't have existed in the first place. And
but then what? The alternative would be to double down on the Wii U, but that's not going to work out because, like we said, it was doomed to fail.
It was.
So they had to make the choice: double down on Wii U or move on into a new console. And I think they can get back more fans with a new console than they can convince fans to buy a Wii U.
Okay. I'll agree with that, I guess. I'll agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, we have to see what it actually is. Like, we're arguing about a console that hasn't even been revealed. All we have is NX.
No, but the fact that many people are admitting to its existence and they're talking about it and the code name's been confirmed and yeah, it's obviously more real than not real.
Oh yeah, it's real, but we don't know what it is. So
no.
We're going to have to wait on this one. But yeah, I think, a lot of interesting thoughts about it, I would say.